Oh, it's actually pretty damn cold out here.
Roger that. Warms up fast. The mornings are cold in Boulder, though, right?
Yeah, they are.
What did you get up to down there? I mean, what's life like?
Boring if you don't ski. We used to go to this bar called the Dollar, though. I love that place.
Oh, wait, is that down on Pearl? They have all the money pinned to the ceiling?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I love that bar. Why don't you go anymore?
I took this job.
Oh, duh. Hey, can you hold on a sec?
Sure. Just gonna keep hiking and hoping it warms up.
Heyo. I don't think so. Why, have you? Okay, good. No, I don't think he has any idea. I'm absolutely sure. Would you? All right, I'll let you know if anything changes in that regard. Hey, sorry about that. Anyway, if there's anyone or anything you want to talk about, fire away.
Who was that?
Who is who?
I don't think he has any idea. What was that? Were you talking about me?
What?
You left your button pressed or something.
Henry, that call was work. I was just talking to... Actually, it's not really your business. Why are you freaking out?
I'm not freaking out.
Good. I'm gonna go quiet for a little bit. Call me if it's important.
Hey, there's a snack in here. I'm probably gonna eat it.
You definitely do not want to do that. Whatever's in there has been in there for years. That's how you get food poisoning.
Hey, there's a tree out here that's been ripped to hell.
And?
Don't you think that's, disconcerting?
Henry, there are 500-pound grizzly bears out here. They sharpen their claws on trees.
We don't have grizzlies in Colorado. People killed them a long time ago.
Well, in the thoroughfare, they hunt people, they kill people, they bury their bodies, and then come back weeks later to eat them because they prefer rotten meat. People just disappear.
Don't you think that's disconcerting?
No, Henry, that's life.
Christ, lady. I'm at the shale slide. I can't climb down from here without a rope.
You shouldn't need a rope where you're headed. The climb through the canyon has its dangerous bits, but you should be able to do it without gear.
Which way is the canyon again?
It's just north of your tower.
Can you see the communication wires from where you are?
I can see the poles, but I have no idea if the wire's in good shape or not. They run a good distance up to a spot called Beartooth Point. You just need to walk along them all the way up there and make sure everything's in ship shape.
You wake up pretty early then, huh?
As soon as the sun comes up. Forest Service really frowns on us putting up curtains for some reason.
I'll get used to it. Been a bit of a night owl for a long time now.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, fires don't really start until 11 a.m. or so.
Seriously?
No. Good lord.
I just thought maybe it was one of those things like how earthquakes only happen at sunrise and sunset.
That's not true either, Henry. Jeez, we're really letting anyone in these days.
Hey, it's Chris again.
And Sean.
Hey.
Hey.
So the conversation that you may be hearing or may be coming up soon has Delilah taking a call from another lookout. Unbeknownst to her, Henry can hear this all happening. And when she finishes that call, you as the player can choose to call her on it or not call her on it. And that was a very interesting piece of writing and design, I think.
Yeah, I really loved the idea we had here, and I love the way it is performed, but I feel like I especially would add something to it if I were to go back into the game and noodle around. This is a kind of a confusing call for people, and I'm sure if it was for you, you'll understand why, which is that people get really hung up on the fact that Delilah takes this mysterious call, and then it's never sort of like overtly explained that she's just doing her job. She's just literally just talking to someone else. And the lens through which you hear it is 100% is Henry's paranoia. But I feel like that could have been underscored here way more had I let you, the player, like, find a nuanced middle ground and sort of pry at her about what that call was without freaking out. Mm-hmm. If you call her on it, Henry gets very, very defensive. And while I think that goes to illustrate the fact that Henry doesn't have a lot of capacity for nuance and middle ground because he's so damaged and bummed to be in the situation he's in, I feel like he kind of did players a disservice by not letting them feel out the relationship and a potential mystery early on.
I think that dated from an earlier revision of the game in which we were barreling towards more of a hard break between Henry and Delilah.
Yes.
And this was maybe just one thing that didn't quite get that last tweak.
Yeah. But I still like the scene.
Me too. Yeah.
Whoa, I found a turtle. Maybe it's a tortoise. It's a thing with a shell.
Well, isn't that something?
It's actually pretty cute.
Well, Henry, if you decide you want it to keep you company, nobody'll mind.
Now, what do I call it? Looks like a,
Oh, this ought to be good.
Actually, I think I'll come up with this thing's name on my own. Something real special.
What a lucky creature.
Yeah, okay, the wire's down here.
Really? Awesome. Good find.
It's like, I don't know, a mile and a half east of me. You just follow the trail up the hill, you can't miss it. I'll go see what the damage is. Hey, so there are beer cans all over the ground up here leading up the hill.
That's annoying.
Yeah, thing is, there were a bunch down at that campsite yesterday.
Coincidence, maybe?
I don't think so. Same brand, everything.
These fucking kids.
Why do you think they'd be up here?
Hell if I know, but they better have stayed away from our communication stuff.
I can see the wire you're talking about. It looks like it's in good shape from here.
We'll follow it up to the top of the trail if you can. You can head back as soon as you give me the all clear.
Got it. So we really can't reach anyone any other way than these wires?
What else do you suggest? Smoke signals?
Just seems dangerous.
Well, if they don't hear from me for a few days, they'll send someone out, but I'd rather it not come to that.
Hey, Chris again.
And Sean.
Hey, if you saw the second trailer for Firewatch, there's a moment that takes place here where Delilah points out that there's someone in Henry's tower. Henry points out that he's not there. Camera swings back to the tower, and it's a big dramatic ending. Of course, that moment happens in a completely different part of the map in the actual game and has totally unrelated to this moment that you're now experiencing.
And this was a trailer that we had debuted with Sony at E3, so we knew we had a big audience and that a lot of people were going to see it. It's really, really challenging. I mean, you all know, because everyone goes to movies, what it's like to watch a trailer for a movie that you're excited about and maybe have already decided to see and then be shown too much stuff.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, a movie either has like the ability to or sort of the chutzpah to just show you a scene that hit the cutting room floor, or an alternate version of something that gets you feeling the way you should feel and excited for the movie as presented, but doesn't spoil it for you. And I think I'm really happy that we ended up doing that. I think it's good. Like, you're not lying. It's not like we showed you a mechanic that you can't do or anything like that.
I think that we basically had to find a way to accurately convey the type of tension and mood of the game without spoiling it. And so we basically ended up just writing those trailers to fit think it worked.
Yeah.
I want you to go find them.
And then what?
I haven't thought that far ahead. That's not true. Everything that comes to mind is illegal.
Let's hear it.
Oh yeah?
Hey, I came out here for a breath of fresh air and some adventure. What do you got?
I think I want you to just find them and scare the hell out of them.
Yeah, I'd make a spooky ghost costume, but they stole my sheets.
I don't know. Wait for them to wander off and wreck their camp. Something that would make a teenage girl run home to mommy and daddy.
I'll find them.
Thanks.
But I am gonna need a raise.
Don't hold your breath. I'd start by hiking back towards your tower and just keep an eye out for anything that would lead you to them.
Well, they're big into Red Eagle.
Great. See if you can find the path they took down from there. Maybe they looped back around towards the lake or something. I doubt they're where they were yesterday, but they obviously can't have gone far.
Hey, Chris again.
And Sean.
Hey, if you saw the second trailer for Firewatch, there's a moment that takes place here where Delilah points out that there's someone in Henry's tower. Henry points out that he's not there. Camera swings back to the tower, and it's a big dramatic ending. Of course, that moment happens in a completely different part of the map in the actual game and has totally unrelated to this moment that you're now experiencing.
And this was a trailer that we had debuted with Sony at E3, so we knew we had a big audience and that a lot of people were going to see it. It's really, really challenging. I mean, you all know, because everyone goes to movies, what it's like to watch a trailer for a movie that you're excited about and maybe have already decided to see and then be shown too much stuff.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, a movie either has like the ability to or sort of the chutzpah to just show you a scene that hit the cutting room floor or an alternate version of something that gets you feeling the way you should feel and excited for the movie as presented, but doesn't spoil it for you. And I think I'm really happy that we ended up doing that. I think it's good. Like, you're not lying. It's not like we showed you a mechanic that you can't do or anything like that.
I think that we basically had to find a way to accurately convey the type of tension and mood of the game without spoiling it. And so we basically ended up just writing those trailers to fit. I think it worked.
Yeah, I'm happy with them.
Hey, I'm out at a ravine. What's this thing that spans across it?
That is how you get to my sector.
No kidding. Well, let me hike over.
Well, it's locked up and mainly for emergencies. I've never actually used it. Rangers use it from time to time, but that's it.
Help! Oh, God, it's an emergency!
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got eyes on a tornado. I gotta get out of here.
A tornado in the heart of the Rockies?
Yes!
Holy moly, I need to call this in. Tom, Two Forks sees a tornado. He says he needs an evac into my sector. It's a meteorological impossibility. There haven't been tornadoes in the greater Yellowstone region in 100 million years. You're gonna need him to stay and take a detailed personal account, even if it means giving his life. Okay, I'll tell him. Sorry, Hank. No dice.
Man.
Hi, it's Ben.
Oh, it's Jake. Hey, Ben. So let's talk about Henry's camera. Or I guess, more specifically, the Goodwin family camera. We liked the idea of Brian and his dad bringing one of those little cardboard cameras out with them, and we had thought at various points in production, maybe we should cut taking photos because it's really complicated. Maybe you should just see the ones at the end in the credits and be shocked by the Goodwin family.
When I joined the project, I actually was super excited about this feature. I liked the idea of having the camera have a little bit of a real-world feel to it. people seem to like when you showed an animated GIF of it on Twitter. People went crazy, like, remembering these things.
Especially once the idea was proposed that on PC you could print out your photos or you could upload them to the internet and get them developed, which is the thing that we do.
Yeah, the photos that we take are actually secretly 5 megapixel, like, first generation digital camera quality photos, but just good enough that if you print them out, they look okay.
Yeah. Like, once we went all in on that as a concept, it seemed like having the camera in the game was like an essential no-brainer. And then we went all in on making it work like a real camera. Like, we really wanted, you'll have a fixed number of shots you can take. Every time you take a picture, Henry has to wind the camera by hand.
And some players, like, ignore it and don't take pictures. They'll take, like, the 2 that Delilah tells you to, and then the end credits will play, and they'll see 2 pictures, and maybe have a little feeling of loss that they didn't participate in that feature.
Yeah, or people who get super bummed because they get really into the mystery and take pictures of, like, strange machines and ripped up campsites and a dead Brian Goodwin, and then get to the end credit sequence and go, oh, that was me.
Yeah, they only see the sad things.
I
Those
like
people
that.
win.
Depending on how much you use the camera and what you choose to take a picture of, you end up getting a different story at the end of the game. That's the thing that I think worked out the best with the camera and made me the happiest that we actually went all out on building this stupid thing.
Yeah, it's really nice.
There's an abandoned pack out here.
And it's not one of the teens?
No, it looks like it was lost a long time ago.
Well, you could always pilfer it for supplies.
Well, I am flush with ropes now. That pack was full of them, in decent condition, too.
That's lucky.
I mean, there's enough rope here that I could just leave them hooked up, I think. Oh, get this. This pack came with one of those cardboard single-use cameras.
With pictures left?
Yeah, he only used 3 or 4.
Neato.
Thank you, Brian Goodwin.
Wait, who?
The bag had the name Brian Goodwin sewn into the top.
Huh. Wow.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I just haven't heard that name in a few years.
He was a lookout?
Yeah, kinda, I guess. He was stationed in Two Forks, your lookout, with his dad Ned 3 summers ago. Great kid.
You can bring children out here?
No. You know, I'm not a stickler for rules. They took off halfway through the summer.
You guys keep in touch, you and the Goodwin kid?
Nah, they took off pretty unceremoniously. Plus, what's a 40-year-old woman gonna do with a teenage pen pal?
Good point.
Anyway, so it goes. Have fun with that camera. Try not to snap anything that would scar a Photodome employee.
I don't know, I got a lot of hiking to do. Might get bored.
Well, I'm bored as rocks, so I'll keep you company while you find those girls, huh?
Someone found a fossil and put it in a cash box.
Oh, really? Hey, sorry about snapping at you earlier. I thought about it, and yeah, I suppose that must have sounded kind of weird when you heard me take that other call. Plus, you're just out here in your own head. Trust me, I know how it is. So, did you break any hearts back in Colorado when you took this job? I myself have chosen to never get attached to anyone who would miss me, but I know I'm a bit of an outlier.
I'm actually married.
But you're here.
She's sick, and I shouldn't be here, but I am.
I'm sorry, Henry. What is it?
We'll get into it.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, you are here, and it's beautiful, and escaping isn't always something bad.
Yeah, sure.
Look, I gotta go do a thing, but I'll have a radio. Okay, call me if you need to.
I see a really thin plume of smoke.
Yeah, I see it too. A thin plume like this is either a new fire or a campfire.
Campfire. You think it's them?
I reckon so.
It looks like it's to the southwest of me.
That's right. If you hike towards 5 Mile Creek, that should put you in the neighborhood. Keep an eye on that smoke plume. Let me know if it's getting any larger.
Will do.
having a hell of a time getting this fucking flapjack off his ass and out to repair that wire.
Excuse me, Flapjack?
You know, like a loser, a chotch.
I really don't, but I do now.
Well, the next time you're at a bar and some banker steps on your foot so he can order his crappy martini, you've got just the name to use.
Hey, Flapjack, why don't you wait your turn before I bounce your face off a dumpster?
It's beautiful! What does she have?
She's got Alzheimer's, like, dementia.
Whoa. How old was she?
Is she? She's alive. She's with her family in Melbourne, Australia. She's 43.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What was it like when you guys found out?
Well, we didn't really understand what was happening. You don't get Alzheimer's in your late 30s.
No kidding.
But even then, we didn't really get it until she couldn't work anymore and I couldn't leave her alone. It wasn't until then that I said, oh, this is it. This is over. That was hard. I'm sorry to be such a downer.
Don't even. I'm happy to listen. And, you know, we'll try to have some fun this summer. I promise.
Oh, hey, this is Ben again, and I'm here with Paolo.
Hello, I'm Paolo. I was the graphics programmer on Firewatch.
So we're here to talk a little bit about the time of day system that the game uses and the skybox stuff. You're in an area where there's a weird device that you can use to step and mess around with those while we talk.
As you can see around you right now, you can walk on the different parts there, and you'll see the weather changing. So immediately when we started working on Firewatch, there were a couple of important points. We had to have a dynamic time of day. So at any point, people could trigger changing the sky, changing the fog, changing each individual component independently. At the same time, this has all sorts of technical implications, but the most important are, okay, how do we represent all this information? Games have many ways of baking data, which means that you sort of gather the lighting information in a scene and then you save it into memory, which is usually a texture or other data structures, to then use it in real time. Now, the problem with that was that we had a lot of different permutations and we wanted them to change in real time. And also, we didn't know ahead of time how many we were going to have. So we tried to go with a fully dynamic solution. In this case, what dynamic means is just that as you walk around, you'll see the sun moving around, the sky color changing, the fog color changing, and the shadows moving. So all those components are always rendered every frame, and there's no information that is stored anywhere.
So what pieces make up the sky again?
The sky, we tried first an approach of representing sort of a simplified version of the scattering equation and seeing what that would look like. And it was looking good in the game, but it was still very difficult to author. And since Ollie, as the art director, is absolutely talented with colors, at some point we just sat down and we sort of worked together and said, okay, imagine that you could just paint the sky in Photoshop and think about how that would work in the game. It might just magically work. And by doing that, we basically dissected his process of assembling just a painted sky in Photoshop, and we created a shader, which are basically programs that run on the GPU to render things, that suited his exact style. So really, the sky is just a series of gradients that blend into each other with a couple of controls to change curves and attenuations between them. So as you walk around, you'll be able to see how both the sky changes and then the fog adapts to the same color and the sun moves in the right direction. And then there were just a couple of numbers to make sure that like the brightness around the sun would be higher so that it would still sort of represent and give the feeling of what the sky and how the sky behaves.
And this like gave Ollie the ability to test some things very quickly.
Exactly. Having immediate feedback for filling a world that was as big as Firewatch, especially for the sort of limited team size that we had, was absolutely important. Like, we had to have a way so that artists would make something quickly, have an idea of what it would look in the game, and knowing that it was pretty close to what we were going to ship.
Yep.
Did your wife's illness have anything to do with you taking this job, or did you just fall prey to the service's big recruiting push? When it comes to, how the hell you ended up out here?
I saw the job in the paper and figured, what the heck?
What the heck? I've got no ties and no life. Better go spend what's left of it in utter loneliness.
Something like that?
Yeah, thanks to last summer, the bump in Forest Service budget actually allowed for us to advertise for the job. Glad it worked.
Oh, you're talking about that giant fire that probably caused some damage. Turned an entire jamboree of brownies to dust.
Brownies don't have jamborees.
Well, they should.
And you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, do you?
I do not.
Jeez. I mean, the federal government almost let Yellowstone National Park burn to the ground? Ring a bell?
Yellowstone is 15 miles away. Why would they do that?
Well, the short story is that for 60 years, we got very good at not letting forest fires happen. And then about 15 years ago, they decided that forest fires in wilderness areas like Yellowstone should be left to burn. So that's what they did. I can't believe you didn't hear about this. There were reports that the entire park was gone. Dan Rather telling the country that President Reagan didn't care on the nightly news. I mean, what the hell's he gonna do? Smoke jump in and snuff one out for the Gipper?
So what should they have done?
I don't even know. By the time the Yellowstone folks realized the little fires weren't going to burn themselves out, 100,000 acres were gone. It's Yellowstone, People don't want to touch it, but we touch it every single day. But hey, I got a 30 cents an hour raise because we can't have another fiasco. Like the goddamn park can burn down again. What are you going to do when the fire season wraps up? Are you going to go be with her? Just go back to Boulder? You should go be with her.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Right now, I'm trying to hunt down some vandals, and I don't even know what I'm going to do when I find them. I'm not thinking very far ahead.
You should go see her.
She's with her family in Melbourne. They're not big fans of mine.
Oh.
Her sister, Susan, is great, but her parents, I think they always thought she could do better, and that I could have done a better job looking after her.
Fuck that. I have no doubt you did your best.
I don't know.
If you want to go visit her, you should go. Don't let a couple of assholes keep you away from someone you love.
I'll think about it. Wow, I'm on top of a natural bridge out here.
Really? Is it a complete arch?
No, I guess the bridge is out here. Still, I think I could jump this gap to get across the canyon.
Well, you're a regular Evel Knievel.
Oh yeah, you should see the jumpsuit I'm wearing.
Hey, Jane.
Hi, Jake. Let's talk about how I almost killed you over this canyon crossing.
Why would anyone have any objection to something in a game as lovely as this area?
So originally, when we first built this whole canyon, you can only walk through the bottom where the creek is.
It looks really lovely when you're walking along the bottom looking up.
And you cannot get close to anything.
You can just
up here.
imagine what the top of the canyon looks like, and you don't ever have to see it or make it.
Basically, there was nothing up here.
But what if, think about this though, what if you could walk across the top of it and look down, and then we built all of that too?
I just remember the day when you mocked this out in the paper map and just gingerly just showed it to me. And then I looked at it and I was like,
what's that line? What's that line doing going over there?
No way, Jake.
There was no way I was going to win that. I mean, I ended up just building a lot of it myself to try
and I think you were like, okay, how about this other thing? I was like, okay, this other thing is fine, but this is definitely not happening.
I just secretly built a million walls and trees and did every single thing that I possibly could to make it so
but
you would look at it.
You did a good job though, because the thing I was really worried about was when you're up there, you end up seeing basically the whole length of the canyon, and then also all the way to basically towards Delilah's tower, which means it's
right,
way
all the way through the Beartooth Point.
It would be
area,
way too much game to try to draw.
Mule Point. Yeah,
so that
exactly.
that was the original sort of
It was a lot of very careful then you go around this turn and then you secretly drop down 3 feet and a bunch of huge trees come up. I was very happy that we were able to get the canyon crossing in because it's one of the few places where I think you do a total figure 8 over yourself.
Yeah. It was nice that you managed to problem solve all the sightline areas before I lose my mind.
Thanks for not killing me. I'm alive to be on this commentary track.